What's going on, my fellow dude and dudette AMG C43 enthusiast car wielders? I'm going to put it like that. What we are going to discuss in this video is how to install the Fuel-It by BMS ECA, the ethanol content analyzer on this M276 motor. With the fact of this car being dual forced induced, one turbo, two turbos, that thing is going to allow you to be confident in the amount of ethanol you have in your fuel tank, so you can go ahead and run an apt tune to get what it is you want to get out of your vehicle. So stay tuned, as it's already installed. This is not going to be a follow step-by-step, but more so a guide as to how to go ahead and get that thing installed, because it's easier than it seems. It's more of a daunting thought than it is a task. So follow along and I'll get this thing installed with you. And well, let's get it going. Alright, so what I've got laid out here are the tools that you're going to go ahead and need. A 18mm wrench, a 5/8 or roughly a 16mm wrench, a hex bit. I'm going to go ahead and figure out what number this is. Also, a flathead bit, and finally a ratchet with a, what is this on here, a 12mm socket. So all those things are going to help you tremendously. You actually can't really do this installation without it. So let's go ahead and proceed. One thing a lot of folks don't know, and I was actually unpleasantly surprised by the fact that this car, I don't know if it has something to do with the way it's just, it's just programmed to prime the fuel pumps as soon as it detects that the key is in range. So hide the key. Please leave it in your house, put it somewhere far enough away from the car, or just go ahead and access the battery, which is under this compartment here. I did not do this. And disconnect the negative terminal. You don't want fuel being spewed all over you. It's not a pleasant experience. It doesn't smell that great, in my opinion. And well, that's just a precaution that I have to go ahead and tell you guys about before we get any further into how I get this thing installed on my car. So, all right, so that is all said and done. Let me slow down here. If you just saw what I did, and let's go ahead and redo it. So unlock that panel, and there are slits. There's one right there, and there's another one right there, I believe, to allow it to sit on that strut bar. This area is vital. Okay, so what you're gonna see, and I have the key in my pocket just so I can try and catch this thing in the action. Now that all the lines are where they're supposed to be, I'm not gonna get sprayed with fuel this time. You're gonna hear the car click a couple of times. If you hear your car click, stop, hide the key, or go back and disconnect the negative terminal on that battery, because what it's doing is it's priming that fuel pump, the low pressure fuel pump, to go ahead and send fuel up this way, and it's gonna come out at you really, really fast. So yes, this is what you're gonna see on the stock configuration for your fuel being sent from the LPFP on this M276. So to remove that, take the 18mm, put it on there, do something like that, and it's going to come off on both ends. Then go ahead and extract the sensor itself from the package that you're going to get from BMS. Set that aside, put these lines on, and that's really all there is. So when you're putting them on, set aside, you're gonna need that 5/8 inch, or again, close to 16mm socket. This one works fine for me. You wanna grab, let's see if I can get a good angle on it here. Yeah, this one's good. Wanna grab that, can you see it? The part that secures the fitment onto this, I don't know what it's called, on the sensor, but essentially this whole thing slides on there, but it has to be secured. So that little piece, and I have a small one, I'll actually just include that in some B-roll there, that twists so the whole thing is nice and secure. With me, this may or may not be the case for you. I've been in development with BMS to get this thing situated for the C43s out there. This side was a little bit hard for me to get on, and I'm okay with that because of the fact that it is pretty much a very, very snug connection. Whereas this side, you know, some slight resistance, but not a whole lot. I actually thought for a couple of seconds I wasn't going to be able to get this one on, but after taking it off, looking at it, and taking my time to make sure that it would go on there properly, just with some added force, it went on, and it's been fine ever since. I've had this on my car for about a week now. Wanted to make sure that everything was fine and dandy before I even picked up the camera to go ahead and tell you guys how to get this thing installed. So that is the portion of getting the ECA, the ethanol content analyzer from BMS, Fuel It, same company, they're owned by BMS, installed on your car. Let's tackle the second portion, which is, I guess we can say the most difficult part, which is getting this thing power. All right, so you're also going to receive a harness, and that is responsible for connecting the Bluetooth analyzer. You can see I also have a JB4. This is the Fuel It Bluetooth analyzer, the one that says Fuel It on there. You're going to plug the harness in, hook it up to the Fuel It. It only goes one way, which is why I'm not really getting too detailed into how that goes on there. And when you're done with that, open up your fuel box, your fuel box. You open up your fuse box with this hex bit. These screws, I do believe, come out, so don't drop them. Alright, set that aside, remove this, and what you're gonna see is nothing like what you're seeing here, of course, because you haven't installed it yet. But the fuse that I tapped in is gonna be on this side of the fuse box, right there. It's going to be a 10 amp. So remove the 10 amp and use the supplied fuse tap that BMS sent you, Fuel It sent you. Put it right back in there and then close the box. After that, go ahead and use your socket with that, what was it, a 12 millimeter, use your ratchet with the 12 millimeter socket. Go ahead and just back this out a little bit. Slide the ground, retighten it, and that's really all there is to this kit, guys. It's been incredible. I can confidently run E, up to about E35 is as high as I'm gonna push this car on E, because it's just, the fuel pumps can't handle anything higher than that. But it's been great. So this is all you need. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Fuel It. Steve at Fuel It has been great. I've been working with him trying to figure out how to get this thing implemented. If you feel like it, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know if you guys have any questions for me about this car and my journey with it so far. It is tuned on the JB4 as well, on map 3 currently. It can't really run map 4. The HPFP, the high pressure fuel pump, is not strong enough for that, but that's also something I'm working on getting rectified, as more content for a different video. But as for this one, thanks guys. Don't forget to put everything back where you found it. Check for leaks.